Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to our channel, the Eaton Squad. My name is Addie. So for today's video is actually an inquiry with regards to spousal visa at the same time, a Philippine-born child of a U.S. citizen parent. Let's address this because some of you might be able to relate on this scenario. Details coming up. So our inquiry came from our YouTube channel. He's got quite a bit of a long message or comment in one of the video that I have posted, and this is really important because I know some of you can relate. This is with regards, as I mentioned earlier, a spousal visa question, and at the same time, his child is born in the Philippines from a foreign parent. So let's address this issue. We are going to break down his question because it's quite long, but we will answer this as much as we can so we can help out our fellow foreign national. So this is from Reverie in the Philippines. He said, I am a U.S. citizen currently in the Philippines with my wife and newborn daughter. I am on a visa extension as of now till January, where I will renew for another 6 months. I would like to get the proper information on what forms or visa needed to have my wife and daughter come with me to visit the USA. My family hasn't met my wife or our newborn, and that's part of the reason for travel. The other is to get Social Security process started. Our plan is to stay or visit the US for a year or till my SSI insurance kicks in. Would my wife and daughter need a tourist or marriage visa? Not sure on a tourist visa because of the time we'll spend in the US. Sorry, I am just a little confused. I want to be sure the right paperwork is filled out. By the way, since there's no income to show or proof or what's required, with a promise letter from a family member of where we will be staying. Thanks. So he's got quite a bit of inquiry over there, and we are going to address this one by one. Let's break down this question. The first one that I'm going to answer is, I would like to get the proper information on what forms or visa needed to have my wife and daughter come with me to visit the USA. My family hasn't met my wife or our newborn, and that's part of the reason for travel. The other is to get Social Security process started. So for your first question, because like I said, we broke it down into three parts. For the first part, he was asking what type of visa he should file for his wife and for his child. He said that his daughter was born in the Philippines because they are living here. Either of his wife or his daughter has gone to America. So let's address this because actually we have experience this with our youngest child. Our youngest child was born in the Philippines, and we have gone through process to grant her U.S. citizenship. So for your daughter, let's start with your daughter because your daughter doesn't need to be petitioned for her to go to the U.S. Since she was born here in the Philippines from a foreign parent, a U.S. citizen, you guys will have to file with a consular report of birth abroad or the CRBA at the U.S. Embassy Manila. This is to grant U.S. citizenship of your child. Since she was born to a U.S. citizen parent, this citizenship of hers should be recognized by CRBA application. Consular Report of Birth Abroad, or CRBA, is a formal document certifying the acquisition of United States citizenship at birth for a person born abroad to a U.S. citizen parent or parents who met the requirements for transmitting citizenship under the Immigration and National Act, or INA. United States non-citizen nationals are also eligible for a consular report of birth abroad using the non-citizen option. CRBA applications must be made before the child's 18th birthday. We recommend that parents apply for the CRBA as soon as possible after the child's birth. So here are the eligibility requirements if you guys are applying for CRBA. To apply, your child must have been born in the Philippines, and you must travel to the U.S. Embassy Manila or U.S. Consular Agency in Cebu for the in-person interview. To be eligible to apply for CRBA online, you must answer the following criteria with yes. So this is, was the child born in the Philippines? It should be yes. Is the child under the age of 18? It should be yes. Was at least one parent or U.S. citizen or U.S. non-citizen national when the child was born? Can you use an internationally accepted credit or debit card or a direct payment method from a US dollar dominated bank account, also known as ACH, to pay for your consular report of birth abroad application? So that should be yes. Are you a biological parent of a child born abroad who is applying for that child? So all of these questions should be answered yes to be eligible for the CRBA. You have to make an appointment in order to file this, and when the CRBA is granted, you can now apply for the US passport of your daughter. You can also apply for her social security number at the US Embassy Manila. That is the process that we have done for my daughter. So when your daughter has granted US citizenship with US passport and social security number, she can fly to the US anytime. Now with your wife. Your wife needs to be petitioned. So if you guys are married for under 2 years, this is under CR1 visa category. So this is a spousal visa, so your wife can go to the US. So what is a spousal visa? A spousal visa, a CR1 spouse, also called IR1, is a green card that allows someone from another country to live in the US with their spouse, a US citizen or permanent resident. If you've been married for less than 2 years, you might get a CR1 visa or the conditional resident. This is the one that I was explaining earlier. And if you've been married for 2 years or more, you might get an IR1 visa, immediate relative. The latest wait time for spousal visa is approximately 17 months. However, it's much longer for foreign nationals married to green card holder in the US. The CR1 visa is now considered the common alternative to the K3. Used to be when you want your spouse, you guys get married in the Philippines, you want to bring her to the US, the only option is K3. Now they have CR1. You guys are married under 2 years, or if you're married for more than 2 years, you guys can apply for the IR1 visa. The part 2 of his question is, our plan is to stay or visit the USA for a year or till my SSI insurance kicks in. Would my wife and daughter need a tourist visa or marriage visa? Not sure on a tourist visa because of the time well spent in the US. So we've answered already the marriage visa about this inquiry. Now for the SSI, if you are waiting for your SSI to kick in, are you drawing your social security at an early age? The earliest you can draw it is at 62, or you want to wait on retirement age, which is 67. I wanted to give you a heads up that if your wife gets a green card or your wife is able to travel to the United States on a spousal visa, your wife is actually limited to go to the Philippines. Because since she will be a resident of the United States, she cannot be outside of the United States for a long time. So 6 months is the maximum. But if you guys already know that you guys will be staying in the Philippines for 1 year, you will have to apply for the re-entry permit of your wife so she can enter the United States again. Because if you don't, like for example, she got the green card, you guys fly back to the Philippines and you've stayed here for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, that is abandonment of her residency in the United States. You guys will have to start all over again on the process for the spousal visa. She will not be able to enter the United States unless you guys secure for the re-entry permit before leaving the United States. So this is the condition of a green card holder going outside of the United States. Because you were mentioning that you guys will be visiting the US and stay there until your SSI kicks in. So I am not sure how old are you at the moment, but that is the rule of a green card holder. So if it takes 3 to 4 years before your SSI kicks in, she can actually apply for naturalization, because being married to a foreign national and a spousal visa, you can actually apply, or she can actually apply to be a U.S. citizen after being a resident of the United States for 3 years. It's your best option if you plan to retire to the Philippines. Make sure she gets her U.S. citizenship and dual citizenship to stay in the Philippines for good without conflicting her status as a green card holder or a U.S. citizen to stay in the Philippines. Your last part is, sorry, I'm just a little confused. I want to be sure the right paperwork is filled out. By the way, since there's no income to show or proof of what's required, would a promise letter work from a family member of where we will be staying? Thanks. So for that question, if you are planning on petitioning your wife on a spousal visa, the USCIS actually has a poverty line requirement that you should meet the poverty line requirement. If not, you can have a sponsor to meet that poverty line requirement. So for 2023, these are the poverty line requirement. So number of people in your household, for sponsors in the 48 contiguous states, DC and US territories, for sponsors in Alaska. Remember, Alaska and Hawaii has a higher poverty line. So to your question, if a promise letter would work from a family member, I am not sure if that would work because of the poverty line requirement that you should show proof of income that you can support your dependents when they come to the US and not become a public charge. So the USCIS don't just need a promise letter. If you need a sponsor to meet the poverty line requirement because your income is not enough to petition your wife, you can do that. You can have your dad or brother or cousin to be your sponsor so you can bring your wife to the US. Your child won't have a problem going to the US, as I mentioned earlier, through consular report of birth abroad, because your daughter is already a US citizen. You are just filing an application to be recognized as a US citizen. With your wife, she has to go through the process of a spousal visa, which the process right now, it says, takes 17 months. So I hope I was able to answer your question, and I hope you can use this video as a guide on which route you guys are going. And to those who are going through the same path, you guys can also use this video as well, especially to those who are filing for spousal visa, especially to those couple who have been married in the Philippines and have a child and have not really filed for consular birth abroad. This is for the US. Now, I am not sure with other countries on what they do to recognize the citizenship of your child. For example, Canada, your husband is Canadian or your husband is Australian. Inquire at the embassy of that particular country. For example, Canada, inquire at the Canadian embassy on what you guys need to go through, on what you guys need to process to recognize the citizenship of your child. Like I said, this is for US citizenship process. And if you guys can use this video as a guide, that would be great. Like I mentioned earlier, we have gone through the process of the CRBA for my youngest child. So wherever in the Philippines, I hope I was able to answer your inquiries, and hopefully you guys can plan ahead on which route you guys are going to take for your child and for your spouse, for your family back in the US to meet them finally. And to those who are going through the process and have been waiting for their application to go through or waiting for an interview date, hang in there, guys. I know one day you guys will be together. So this is our latest immigration update. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, concerns, or inquiries with regards to this video or in any of our travel related videos, please comment it down below and I will try to get back to you guys as soon as I can. Or you can direct message me in our Facebook page, same handle, the Eaton Squad, or in our Instagram, the Eaton Squad Official. Again, guys, thank you so much for the continued support and trust to our channel and to our family. I hope to see you on our next travel update. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless everyone.